Her name is Rachel.
Rachel
Remember
Campos
me, Charlie? It's only been a week.
In Washington, D.C., getting ready to warming up the place for all the festivities this week.
Yeah, it's an exciting weekend. As you guys mentioned, or as we mentioned in the introduction, weather is actually becoming part of the headline in the inauguration, moving things indoors. A lot of people upset because, you know, they came from all over and they wanted to see the parade. They wanted to be out there in that moment. And so it looks like people are going to be moved indoors to the arena and watching it on a screen, which has people bummed out, but maybe was the right thing to do in terms of safety.
I wouldn't put it past Trump to have something, you know, late May, you know, after Memorial Day maybe or right before, just have another parade, another celebration. He's good at that. He's got a special coordinator for events and activities that we announced a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, you know, one of the fun things about inaugurations is watching how people dress up in order to fight the cold. And I was kind of looking forward to seeing everybody in these ridiculous outfits, these giant snowsuits on the mall. That's always kind of a fun part of an inauguration.
Well, you won't get to see that this time, Charlie.
All right. Well, Madeline Rivera joins us live in D.C., and she's got more details on what we're talking about, Trump's inauguration. Maddie?
Hi, guys. Good morning. The decision to move the inauguration indoors set off a last-minute scramble from Capitol Hill employees working on the setup in the rotunda to Trump supporters who, like you said, Rachel, are wondering what to do now that they won't be able to see the events in person. So there is a sense of disappointment among many of them, several of whom had booked flights and hotels. But President-elect Trump says in this Truth Social post he did not want to see anyone get hurt. It is said to be the coldest inauguration since former President Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in 1985. That swearing in was also moved indoors.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
The Capitol Police say only ticketed guests and members of Congress will be able to attend the ceremonies at the Rotunda. There will be a public viewing of the inauguration at the Capital One Arena, and Trump says he will be joining his supporters there after being sworn in. Tonight, Trump will attend a reception at his golf club in Sterling, Virginia. He will watch a fireworks show there later this evening. Vice President-elect JD Vance is attending a cabinet reception dinner at the National Gallery of Art. Tomorrow, Trump will attend a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. He will then have a Make America Great Again rally at the Capital One Arena. On Monday, Trump and Vance will attend a service at St. John's Church. Then they head to the Capitol, where Trump is expected to be sworn in by noon. Charlie, Rachel, and Joey.
Thank you, Madeline. You get it. Yeah, Thanks, a lot of questions for even the cabinet members, by the way. I mean, so Sean and I will move inside. I ran into Pete last night and his wife, Jen, at an event. And we're all wondering, where will our kids go? We don't know if there's enough room in the rotunda for our kids. And by the way, this is a cabinet with a lot of kids. So Pete has 7, I have 9, and RFK has like 6 or 7. I mean, this is a cabinet with big families, and nobody knows yet what's going to happen with the rest of our family. But we're just going to roll with it because the energy in the town, regardless, you guys, regardless of the disappointment about the parade and all that, the energy is off the hook.
Well, you can't make America great again without lots and lots and lots of children. So
that's true.
Y'all and Pete are doing your job.
Yeah, we are.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Well, I was just going to say, somebody who's going to be at one of the events is a rally that Donald Trump, this was planned long before, tomorrow afternoon at the arena. And Billy Ray Cyrus is one of the people scheduled to sing. And he was on Hannity last night. And here's what he had to say about that moment.
I will say when President Trump stood up and he had that blood on his face and he stood up and raised his fist and said, fight. That was one of the photographs and moments of the most defining definition of some gave all. That was the true spirit of the heart and soul that this country was built on, the bravery. Heroes like Corey, his family, so many there made that sacrifice surrounding Mr. Trump. And this moment, Sunday, is to honor Corey, his family, the heroes, President Trump, the First Lady, and a new day in America, a new day in the world, a new day of celebration. It's time to turn the page and move forward.
Yeah, that's going to be beautiful to memorialize Corey Kim that way. Because, in all of that in Butler, obviously respects were paid, but it almost, there was so much attention on the fact that the president was almost shot. It's important, and I'm glad that President Trump and Billy Ray Cyrus are going to do that.
And, of course, Butler will be changed forever by that, will be remembered forever by that event, but not only the horrifying things that happened that day, but also by the heroic efforts by people who live there and literally saved lives.
Yeah, I mean, it was a horrific day, but also the resilience shown by Donald Trump, to be shot in the head and stand up and say, fight, fight, fight. I can tell you in my own immediate family, there are extended family, there were people who were on the fence about Trump, saw that moment and said, okay, this is the guy who can take it. This is the guy that, represents who we are as Americans and is going to fight for us. And so it just was a game changer. And I think Democrats included understood that was a game-changing moment in the election, one that anyone who was watching it will never, ever forget. Meanwhile, there's another issue that's looming that maybe Donald Trump comes in and swoops in and wins a bunch of young people over, and that is the TikTok ban that's looming. Here's a statement from here's the CEO of TikTok talking about it. You should understand, this is a massive topic for Gen Z, and they are up in arms about this. Here's the TikTok CEO talking about it right now.
As you know, we have been fighting to protect the constitutional right to free speech for the more than 170 million Americans who use our platform every day to connect, create, discover, and achieve their dreams. On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States. This is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We are grateful and pleased to have the support of a president who truly understands our platform, one who has used TikTok to express his own thoughts and perspectives, connecting with the world and generating more than 60 billion views of his content in the process.
So, of course, the big question is whether or not the parent company of TikTok, ByteDance, is willing to sell TikTok to a non-Chinese controlled company. And obviously, it's going to be, Congress passed that law, and Donald Trump wants to do something about it. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to just sort of wave a wand and do it. But he made a statement on the SCOTUS ruling confirming that upholding the congressional law, saying the Supreme Court decision was expected and everybody must respect it. My decision on TikTok will be made in the not too distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. Stay tuned. But as you point out, Rachel, he's made it big on TikTok, so he's eager to try to protect it.
Yeah, he wants different outlets to get his opinion out. One of the loudest voices opposing this, of course, are TikTok creators. There's tons of young people who are making a living off of creating content on TikTok, and so they're really upset about it. So are people who enjoy looking at the videos. And we had Jojo Scarlata and Nikki Scarlata. They're two, pretty big influencers on the TikTok platform. And here's what they told me about it.
Americans are going to consume content, whether that be on a different app or not. And RedNote is the #1 app in the App Store today. So it comes down to, if you're talking national security, if Americans are just going to go onto another app that, say, quote unquote, is a Chinese Communist Party app, and they're going to consume and post content on that app, we're going to have the same situation if TikTok get banned tomorrow. We're going to have the same situation in a couple of months. Gen Z's saying basically we had enough, we're going to consume content regardless. And I think we should listen to this generation because, it's the future.
If it was something as serious as a national security threat, I believe, it would be handled in a different manner. But the fact that, for example, there's another Chinese app making its way on the App Store the way it is, I believe it's more of a sensory issue than it is a security concern, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, they're wrong. I completely this isn't censoring at all. You can go on Instagram, you can go on any of the other apps and see the same 30-second people making fools of themselves and getting a lot of likes. But I'm not being mean about them. Here's the deal. This is where you have to have some intellectual integrity here. We're all really mad at President Biden because the law says you have to enforce the border. And he said, you know what? I don't want to. This law was passed, even if it was slid into a funding bill for Ukraine's war or Russia's war in Ukraine, even if this part is a part of a completely different bill, which is another topic we should separate. It's law. The Supreme Court says it's constitutional. Congress passed it. The executive branch can't just say, hey, we don't want to listen to the law, even if we don't like the law. It goes back to Congress. And it was a bipartisan Congress that passed it because they all love to spend our money.
Well, I think it's because censoring Americans and using national security as an excuse to do it has some bipartisan appeal in Congress. But this is what Rand Paul had to say. Now, I don't know. This was from a hearing with Kristi Noem. He wasn't necessarily talking about TikTok, but I think this sound from him, this quote from him, I'm going to play it right now, speaks to, I think, what people are concerned about, that national security is being used by the intel community through our government, through our laws, to control our thought instead of focusing on real threats. Listen.
DHS under the Biden administration has often used its vast powers to target Americans exercising their constitutional rights. It's become an agency more focused on policing speech, monitoring social media, and labeling political dissent as domestic terrorism than addressing genuine security threats.
You know, the annoying
Charlie, is the problem that they can't control, like the government can control Facebook, can control Instagram, but they can't control TikTok. Is that really what the heart of the problem? Because why focus just on TikTok?
Yeah, it's such a great point. We saw the Biden administration bullying Facebook and other American tech companies into whether it was on COVID or election stuff, everything. And of course, the American tech companies completely folded and did whatever they wanted to do. And obviously, TikTok is not going to be bullied by the Biden administration. The one thing, though, that I've always kind of found a little bit annoying about the TikTok debate is if China is spying on the United States through TikTok, which it is, then why don't we also go after China? But it's almost like that monster is so big that that the Biden administration and a lot of Democrats in particular don't want to take on the real fight.
Yeah, I will say this, though. We reported on it. The videos on TikTok, it was like 90% pro-Kamala Harris and 10% Donald Trump. Even though it was helpful for Donald Trump, it wasn't like TikTok was carrying Trump's water in any way. I think it goes back to why aren't they doing this to any other platform? Because there aren't many other platforms that have this reach that are controlled by what everyone says is our biggest adversary over the next 2 to 20 years. So I think really what my problem is here, Rachel, and you can probably speak to this having been on Capitol Hill with Sean, Congress has to be smarter about the solutions. The problem is real. China is influencing us and monitoring us through an app, but simply this legislation, this way of fixing it, hurts Americans. It penalizes Americans, takes something away from them that some Americans are making money off of.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue this debate throughout the show. In fact, my daughter, Evita Duffy, who weighs very heavily on the other side of yours. I think it's a great debate to be having right now.
Yeah, sure.
And so we're going to have her later on in the show and dig a little deeper into that. Meanwhile, Senator Richard Blumenthal was grilling Kristi Noem about the border and specifically about children at the border. Yeah. Check out this exchange.
I just want to call your attention to an effort that I've led to help reunite children with their parents, children who were separated as a result of the so-called family separation policy in the last administration. I hope that you will support that kind of effort.
What I'm alarmed by is the over 300,000 children that went missing during the Biden administration.
Let's put aside.
Well, I can't put aside 340,000 children.
Labels. Let's put aside what happened in the past. There are still 1,000 children who are separated and waiting to be reunited. I'd like your commitment that you're going to continue the effort to reunite them with their parents.
Senator, keeping families together is critically important to me and to this country. I'm concerned about Laken Riley's family, that they no longer have her. I'm concerned about the fact that we have people in this country that don't know where their children are, or people in other countries who sent their children here and they've been lost by this administration.
So Dick Blumenthal thought he was grilling Kristi Noem, and he got burned.
Yeah.
He got burned real bad. That was I thought, the highlight of that hearing, and the whole thing was really fascinating. And she did a fantastic job.
She did.
And she was very respectful, but she came with the facts, and they blew up pretty good in his face right there.
Yeah, it seems like he's been living under a rock. So, the separation of the children during the Trump administration was about separating them from the adults who claimed to be their parents, so we could actually make sure they were their parents before we sent them off with them into the country. And by the way, it was Democrats in Congress who voted against DNA testing to make sure these were their parents. Meanwhile, he didn't want to talk about 340,000 children who our system has lost track of, who have fallen into child labor, child sex trafficking. We have no idea where they are. The government hasn't been able to find them. Donald Trump, of course, famously in the interview that Will Pete and I had with him last summer said, "I promise to find them."
Yeah. Well, Tom Homan said, "Hey, we'll deport them as families. That's okay. We'll keep them together. They're here illegally." So.
Yeah, if we can find those kids.
Yeah.
All right, turning now to your headlines, starting with a Fox News alert. Smoke rising this morning overlooking Gaza as Israeli military says it's getting ready to implement the country's ceasefire agreement with Hamas starting early tomorrow. According to the deal, Hamas is expected to release 33 hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The first phase of the deal is expected to last 42 days. New York City Mayor Eric Adams meeting with President-elect Trump yesterday at Trump International Golf Club in Florida. The embattled mayor says they discussed the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal and improving New York City, but did not discuss his legal case and federal corruption charges. The mayor also saying in a statement, quote, "Those who suggest the mayor of the largest city in the nation shouldn't meet with the incoming president to discuss our city's priority because of inaccurate speculation or because we're from different parties clearly care more about politics than people." And as he takes his oath of office on Inauguration Day, President-elect Trump will be placing his hand on the two special Bibles. The first was given to Trump by his late mother in 1955 as he graduated Sunday Church Primary School. The other was used by Abraham Lincoln for his 1861 swearing-in ceremony. Trump also used this Bible in 2017. Vice President-elect JD Vance will be sworn in using a family Bible given to him by his mama in 2003 before he left for the Marine Corps in South Carolina. Both very touching stories. Those, of course, are your headlines.
Truly beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Fox News alert. Trump's massive migrant deportation effort reportedly beginning on Tuesday. Which city they could be targeting first?
Plus, Ohio Governor Mark DeWine naming Vance's Senate replacement, Senator Bernie Moreno. Welcome back to this Fox News alert. A polar vortex with below zero temperatures is set to blast over 300 million people across the country starting this weekend. And Monday could bring travel-threatening snow to the I-95 corridor. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, the return of the strong Santa Ana winds next week could present more challenges to first responders who are trying to contain the wildfires. We're going to turn now to our chief meteorologist, Rick Reitmuth. He's got our Fox weather forecast. Rick?
Morning, Joe. Yeah, so California, Southern California in their driest stretch on record, at least since last October. So the dryness looks like it's going to continue for at least the next 10 days. And by the time we get in towards Monday afternoon into Monday night, next Santa Ana wind event begins to take place. This is going to last for a couple of days. Monday evening, Tuesday evening, likely seeing some strong winds. Hard to tell exactly how strong this event is going to be, but the setup is back for us for some strong winds. So we're going to watch that. Now, we've got on the East Coast a snowstorm for tomorrow into tomorrow night. Potentially some pretty big snow here from, say, Philadelphia up towards Boston, including New York. We'll see some spots that are going to be close to maybe 8 to 10 inches of snow. Cities maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow. That's going to be disruptive. And then behind that, obviously, the cold air really settles in. Now, this cold air that comes in is also going to meet up down across parts of the south. This is a Monday through Wednesday, maybe say a Tuesday, Wednesday event down across parts of the deep south, maybe an icing event, maybe snow in Jackson and Atlanta. That's how far south this cold is going to get, and this cold is going to stick around for the better part of 5 to 6 days. All right, Charlie, send over to you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan telling Fox News that the Trump administration will begin with immigration raids across the U.S.
It's going to be a big raid all across the country. Chicago is just one of many places. We got 24 field officers across the country. On Tuesday, you're going to expect ICE. ICE is finally going to go out and do their job. Well, we're telling ICE, you're going to enforce immigration law without apology. You're going to concentrate on the worst first, public safety threats first, but no one's off the table. If they're in the country illegally, they got a problem.
This comes as Trump's nominee for DHS Secretary Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota made border security a big focus in her Senate confirmation hearing. Joining us now, Bernie Moreno questioned Noem in that hearing. He's a member of the Homeland Security Committee. Joining us now. Thank you for joining us. So, I was really struck by the number of Democrats on your committee who are suddenly really concerned about immigration, or at least talking like they are. It's quite the sea change.
Well, we'll see how they vote. They all voted for Mayorkas, who did what we know he did, allowed criminals, murderers, rapists into this country, hired private jets to pick up some people from foreign countries, resettled them, paid for luxury hotel rooms in New York City. So we'll see how they vote. They should all vote to confirm Kristi Noem because it's the greatest upgrade in American history, going from Mayorkas to her.
Well, I particularly like this exchange between you and Governor Noem talking about Laken Riley.
Just to be clear, Laken Riley would be alive today if you had been the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Senator, my hope is that that would be true, yes.
I think it is true, right?
Absolutely. And there's lots of other families. I mean, the reality is Biden, Mayorkas allowed these criminals to come into our country, housed them, fed them, gave them health care, moved them all over the country. They committed heinous crimes. And there's no accountability, Charlie. At the end of the day, the American people saw that. And that's why on November 5th, they gave the landslide that President Trump received.
So you have a new seatmate. Your governor, Mike DeWine, appointed John Husted, lieutenant governor, to J.D. Vance's vacated seat. How will that work out in terms of prosecuting the MAGA agenda?
It'll be great. I've known Lieutenant Governor Husted, soon to be Senator Husted, for over a decade. And he's somebody who's hyper-focused on rebuilding manufacturing in Ohio. It's something that's near and dear to the hearts of every Ohioan. He's somebody who has a deep knowledge of the state. He's worked really hard to travel to every corner of the state. So he's going to be a great voice. We're going to be great partners together to bring even more businesses to Ohio. You've got a lot of activity already going there, from Intel to Anduril. Honda's expanding. So we look really forward to working together with them, and we'll get a lot of stuff done.
Senator Moreno, thank you so much, and Godspeed. You got your work cut out for you.
Thank you.
So you've probably heard our own Will Cain is looking to make weekdays great again with his own brand new show. After 5 years, Will Cain is leaving the curvy couch behind to host a brand new Will Cain show on Fox.
But before he leaves to the 4 p.m. slot, he's with us for one last hurrah on the weekend. Well, I hope it's not one last. You better come back and see us, Will.
I will accept any invitation provided it's not in the 6 a.m. hour. I will accept any invitation to join you guys on the curvy couch.
But 7:30 is okay?
Into the future. Yeah. Let me see. It's a Central Time, Charlie. Yeah. I can't wait to sleep in as part of my new schedule, my new life.
Stop rubbing it in. Well, listen, we put together a great packet. I want to make sure we get to it because we have so many beautiful memories. This is just a tiny taste of what you brought to us every weekend.
Will Cain, ladies and gentlemen, he is now our new co-host here on Fox and Friends, and we could not be more thrilled.
I'm excited to be hanging out with you guys every Saturday and Sunday morning. Shake and bake.
Oh, look at that.
I'm not Captain America. Pete's Captain America.
It's obvious that that's Superman.
Will, yes.
Clark, actually. Clark, actually.
Excuse me. Will is, in fact, my older brother.
Go ahead.
Will lost a bet to Tyrus because your Mavericks lost.
Today's National Dance Day.
One of Will's finest moments on Fox.
It's like Fear Factor and Morning Show put together now. This isn't a city rat.
No, this.
Dog it.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. He got him. Yesterday, bobbing for wings. Will declared he would never, ever, ever do that.
No.
I know you're the corn shucking champ.
Two times.
Yeah. Twice.
In true Fox and Friends fashion, how about a little competition?
May the best friend win.
Rachel Campos Duffy is better at predicting sports than Will Kane and Clay Travis.
This is the greatest sports headline of all time. You know, Dak has too many interceptions.
No, he doesn't. That's not true.
Late.
Very generous view. Build it, he will come. There's something quintessentially American about the choices that you make.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball, the Old West, and political career.
I'm going to make a picture about apple pie. Watch.
You care about this country. People ask you, why do you do this? How can you do this? But maybe the question isn't how do you do this over and over, but how does your family do this?
I think it's probably, in many ways, it's tougher on my family than it is in me.
What is the legacy?
At the end of the day, you strip it all away. It comes down to how we treat each other.
Will Kane joins us right now with a very special announcement.
So I am incredibly thrilled to say that the Will Kane Show will launch at 4 p.m. here on the Fox News channel. I am a little sad to say goodbye. This couch, Rachel, Pete, the new co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Charlie Hurt, and to the audience as well in the mornings.
You packed a lot into that 5 years.
I did, Charlie, as you will very soon. There will be images and clips of you dunking your head into vats of ranch dressing, and it will make your highlight reel when it's all said and done.
So where do you go to get your dignity back after 5 years of that?
That's to the 4 p.m. show.
That's what the 4 p.m. show is about. It's all about redemption.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Rick. We'll find out if I am doing those types of tricks at 4 p.m. starting on Tuesday on the Will Kane Show. Can I just say a couple of things? First of all, I'm filled with gratitude today, and I'll be with you guys a little bit later this morning, but not just for what's coming. I'm super excited, of course, about the Will Kane Show at 4 p.m., but I just got to do something, and you guys know I said this when Pete left, and I'm not going to be too emotional this morning, but it is a rarity in life to be able to work with your friends. And to work with Pete and Rachel and Rick has been one of the most special things that's ever happened to me in my life. And by the way, I want to say this. It's not just them. It's Jen and Gavina. It is Lynn and Aaron. It is Sarah and Katie. And it is everybody behind the cameras right now in that studio where you guys are sitting and I hang out with and talk about sports like commercial breaks.
Yep.
And it's Charlie and Joey and Adam and everybody that hangs out is a part of this family that is Fox and Friends. I am just grateful that this has been part of my life.
Listen,
and by the way, and it's everybody there on the other side of this camera.
Yeah,
Rick, you're out there you're out there on Fox Square that we all feel as part of our family as well.
I've been on this show for 18 years. I'm 19 years now. I'm the old man. You'll learn this, Joey. And I've done it for a long time. And there's been a lot of great people have come through here. There's never been kind of lightning in the bottle as there has been in the last 6 years or so with you and Pete and Rachel. I will say that. And I don't think I'll ever experience that again. Charlie, you have really big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I'll say.
Coming into this. But the gratitude that I have for just having this experience with you, Will, is amazing. The sadness I feel at the loss of you leaving only is filled by the fact that I know you're getting something that is so good for you, and you're going to be so good, and you deserve it, and you're going to be able to sleep in every day and be with your family 5 days a week, and that matters more than anything to you, and I know that. So I'm so happy for you.
If it wasn't so great for Kathleen and the boys, I would not be happy for you.
Exactly, it's true.
This is the best thing that's happened to the Kane family in a long time, and I'm really excited about your show. You know, it's interesting watching all these clips, especially the interviews. Tell us more about what's going to happen at 4 p.m. What people can expect from you and from this show.
First of all, I just want to say thank you. Rick, I got an awesome text from you last night. Rachel, to your point, I'm in Austin. You can see the state capitol behind me because I went to a soccer game last night for one of my sons. And I'm going to go this morning as well. Listen, the 4 p.m., it is going to be, I don't want to overemphasize this word, but it's going to be different. It's an evolution. I'm not going to come out of the gates and change television. That's not my goal. It's to be me. But it will be different. It will be different than a lot of things that are done on this channel and across the spectrum when it comes to mainstream media. We will, you guys know me. The marching orders that I have are to be me. So you're going to hear my opinions, unvarnished. You're also going to hear rebuttals to my opinions. I'm going to be curious, but opinionated. It's going to be news breaking. But you know me, Rachel and Rick, I like to go off the wall, and I'm going to go deep. I'm going to get analysis about why this news matters. It's a blank slate, and I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When you see me on Tuesday, I'm going to be a little bit nervous, but more than nervous, grateful and excited.
We're certainly excited, man.
I just want to tell you officially how much I'm going to miss you. I've learned so much professionally from you and from Pete. Both of you have been just great friends, great mentors to me. I agree, Rick. The four of us, it felt like lightning in a bottle. And I remember you saying to me, "Will, enjoy this because this is a rare thing on TV to have this kinds of bonds and friendships, and this feeling that it was always fun to go to work." And we're going to do this again, Charlie. We're going to. The show's not over because Will's gone. But it is important to mark this moment and just how much you mean to me and how much our friendship has meant to me, Will. And I wish you and your family and, of course, your show all the best. It's going to be a massive success. I already can feel it.
And you'll be back with us in the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah, that's why, Charlie, I'm not going to take the bait right now because if I'm going to do waterworks, I'm going to save it for the 9 o'clock hour.
There you go.
But I got some things to say about Rachel, Rick, Pete. A little more.
Godspeed, my friend.
We'll see
you.
Just a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Phase 1 of Israel and Hamas' ceasefire deal, which includes the release of 33 hostages, will begin tomorrow after the full Israeli cabinet approved the agreement. In exchange for the hostages, Israel officials are set to free 95 Palestinian prisoners, including a female terrorist. But our next guest says the release of those Palestinians poses a serious security risk. Israeli Special Operations veteran Aaron Cohen joins us now. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to hear your take on this. We do need to point out that Israel is having to exchange prisoners for very innocent hostages. Tell me your thoughts.
So everybody's worried here in Israel. It's a very emotional time, as you can understand. There's obviously this terrorist being released. One of them includes a very well-known female PFLP terrorist member, Khalida Jarrah. She's been in and out of Israeli prisons for years. And there's certainly going to be murderers and significant offenders that are being released by Israel who we've put in prison. And it certainly creates a security threat. But I want to say this. Every one of the prisoners that Israel is going to be releasing are people that Israel has already caught. Units like mine, the Mistar Ravim, the Yamam, Israel Shin Bet, their intelligence agencies already put these people in prison. I think the real secret sauce here with this deal, here's where I'm at with this. The key to this deal is getting the hostages back after this 14 or 15 months. And Israel's willing to take the risk of putting some of these very dangerous, violent offenders and releasing them back into the streets. But I believe that they're going to be monitored very closely through surveillance. And I do think that Israel's going to have the ability to be able to recapture them and will do so if there's any faltering with the deal. And I want to say this. This deal was architected many months ago, and I don't know if people realize this, but the real deal was set and forged by Israel's Mossad director, David Barnea, and was negotiating this deal months ago, back in May, even earlier when that first hostage group was released. And the terms were set by the Mossad in stone before Hamas ever realized it. So the real key here, the moment Hamas steps out of line, the moment they don't agree to the terms of phase 2, which is very likely to happen because they're a fanatic terror organization, Israel now has Trump and Mike Waltz in their corner. And they're going to have the ability to go in there and stomp out Hamas and achieve that main operational goal, which was the destruction of Hamas. But now it's about getting the hostages back and doing what's morally right. And I think that's where Bibi's at, and that's where his Mossad chief is at. But all this was set in stone months ago before Hamas even knew what the terms were. So the Mossad set the terms, and I think that's a big point for people to understand.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You basically said, hey, this is the terms that Israel was comfortable with, and based on the idea that they can search down, track these people, maybe reapprehend them or prevent them from committing terror again. Listen, Aaron Cohen, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for bringing us some insight on this, because a lot of people are they want those hostages home, but you have to understand there's a risk. So, Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, first responders from Butler, Pennsylvania.
Attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. President-elect Trump will be inaugurated as our 47th president. And nearly 100 first responders who saved lives that day are set to join his inaugural parade. Director of Emergency Department for Butler Hospital, Jenna Ensko, and County 911 Coordinator, Rob McClafferty, join us now. Thank you all both for joining us. Jenna, first off, it's been 6 months, but sort of still only 6 months. Butler will forever be defined by what happened that day. And I think you all were both on the scene. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, good morning. We were both at the rally site on July 13th. We prepared for the day and planned as appropriately as possible, but, you never plan for what actually occurred on that day. We saw multiple patients throughout the day of heat-related emergencies, over 250 to be exact. So I think that really caught us by surprise. We expected to see many, but truly not that many. Yeah. So that was a very busy day for us up until the shots rang out. And then the feeling and the atmosphere at that point was very surreal and almost unbelievable.
Well, of course, Rob, part of what no one will ever forget is the life of Corey Comparatore. This parade on Monday will be partly to honor him, correct?
Absolutely. And that's certainly we're all humbled to be there. But that's our biggest, that's just the biggest thing for us. The biggest incentive for us to be there is just the opportunity to honor Corey's life and the fact that he gave all that day. Zig Ziglar has a fantastic quote about circumstances don't create character. They really show character. They reveal character. Yeah. And Corey was a hero before that day. It was just revealed that day.
So, Jenna, I would imagine you obviously you all have how many people are going to be in your part of the parade?
There are almost 100 first responders from Butler County that will be attending from our facility. Particularly, there are 4 of us.
Wow. And how has this changed Butler?
Yeah, I think Butler has always been the small town, tight knit, very close community. But I think the events of that day really have just brought us closer together. We are truly a hometown feel, and we support each other. And I think this just certainly has exemplified that.
Well, you all both have become an important part of history, obviously. But remembering the events and remembering the heroes from that day is I think is a very important way to polish your place in history. So thank you all both for that. Jenna Ensko and Rob McClafferty. Okay, Joey.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. We want to issue a quick clarification. On Thursday, we did a segment about the FDA banning the use of red dye number 3. In that segment, we showed a video of Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops, along with all WK Kellogg Co. cereals, do not contain